All right, good day. I'm going to show you how to clean out the jet of a carburetor of a Troy Bilt Power Washer with a Honda motor. You can see whatever model that is, GCV 190. All right, it's a simple carburetor, old-fashioned. Down here, you can see I took it off already. That's a float, and this is a brass tube where this jet was in. And you can see, hopefully you can see, I don't know if you can or not. You can see a little air there. You can see the sky. I cleaned it already. But it's a single edge screwdriver. This is underneath, this piece is underneath. This is how you start the repair. It's a 10 millimeter bolt that you have to gently loosen with a ratchet. And you could use a wrench. I didn't have a wrench handy, so I used a small ratchet. You can see the one I used here. It's 10 millimeters socket. And then you loosen that very gently, and this piece will come off the bowl of the carburetor. And then underneath here, I'm going to try to get this so you can see it. Hopefully you see something pink. It's a pink washer that's around where my finger is up here. And you can see that that's where the washer is, the gasket, so to speak, for this bowl. Sometimes it comes off on top of it, sometimes it stays up there. Mine happened to stay up there. So what I used to clean the bowl was really cruddy. I should have showed it, but it was all full of gook. It was like a frying pan that had grease on it that wasn't burnt, but was just, you know, residue. And I had to clean it off, and I used this goof off stuff to do it. I put it in the kitchen, I let it in a bowl, and I soaked it, and I put some of that solvent on there. And I also used a Brillo pad. It's aluminum, so it's no big deal. I just made sure it was very dry when I was done. And I cleaned that. For this, I used a single bristle from a brush. And I used a needle too, but the needle wouldn't even go through. It's that small. But a brush bristle would go through. So I did that very carefully. And I also put a little bit of oil on my fingers to put on the threads here, so it'll be a little easier to put back when I put it through. A note of caution, you can see I stripped this a little bit, and that's because I used the wrong tool. I tried jamming a screwdriver, flipping it over after I took off this bottom of the carburetor, this bowl, and I tried, this is inside the, I'll show you in a second, this is actually inside this, this brass tube inside the carburetor. And to get it out, you can't use the screwdriver because you can't get the right angle. You can't get a perpendicular angle on to get the flathead part of the screwdriver on there. So through some trial and error, once I did get it out, I got it loose with a screwdriver, but once I got it out, I really spent some time trying to figure out what bit would be the best bit to use, and I came up with a bit that would be the best one, and it's number 4. I'll try to get this in focus. It's a number 4 bit, and it fits really well on here. And I'm going to show you, oops, my noise. I'm going to show you how it fits. Yeah, and you could see that it fits pretty good in there. So I used that, and I also, for a little leverage, I had this, I have a longer version of that same, I know I'm off the camera, sorry. I have a longer version of this, oops, same thing. Now this one says number 4 as well. You can see, let me get my hands back here, and I don't want to lose this fitting, that's why I'm being real careful and clumsy with the camera, sorry about that. I'm zooming in, I don't want to zoom in. And here is and I'll try to get the number 4. There we go. So this actually worked the best. It gave me a little leverage, and you can see that if I put it down here in my lap, you can see that it's a pretty good fit. And you can see that I did strip it out a little bit, getting it out. It survived. So I'm going to be very careful when I put it back in, and I'm only going to hand tighten it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get down on the ground again, and I'm going to thread this in gently. And you have to make sure you thread this in up enough into that chamber, that tube, because if you don't, then when you put the carburetor bowl back on, and you put this this part rests on the bottom, and when you put that back on, this oops, my washer's coming off. All right, I don't want to lose that. Anyway, I'll take it off. It's all right. This bolt, if you don't set that jet, that brass fitted jet back in tight enough, this bolt will not go on all the way, and you can't tighten it all the way, and that's when bad things start happening. You'll strip the bolt, you'll do some damage, you may even crack the or bend the bowl, and it won't work. So you have to make sure you thread that brass jet right there, that brass colored fitting inside that coupling. Otherwise, you're gonna have a problem. So make sure you take your time. That's why I put a little oil around the threads, and I'm gonna be very careful when I thread that and use that tool, and I'm gonna hand tighten it. I will not tighten that jet very tight, because the next time it happens, I wanna get it off. And that's the other thing, the gas, you have to, when you use these things, you have to make sure that you burn the gas out. I mean, completely let it run out, and then shut the gas off and dry out your tank and pour some of that, blow some of that compressed air. Oops, I'm gonna lose my fitting. That can of compressed air is gonna be blowing out the actual gas chamber. And I use that compressed air already to, and I'll show you what to do with that. Scoot over here. I'm sorry about this, but you'll see that what I do is I just simply get the compressed air, and I'll show you. And I just put the tube, I put the red straw into the opening of the jet, and then pull the trigger. And I know you can't see it. Yeah, maybe now you can. And that just makes sure it's clear before you put it out. And you can see the hole is open. Hopefully you can see that hole. That's the key. If that's clogged, nothing's gonna work. And the gas does not last. There's so much ethanol in the gas that it creates a deposit in the bowl, and it builds up inside this little fitting, and more on this side probably. And it's really bad. So if you don't want to keep doing this project, which completely sucks, then I would tell you, make sure you run this thing empty, shut the gas off, and then blow out with this compressed air, or use a towel, paper towel, run it empty, use a paper towel to dry out the excess gas, and then just blow it out, leave it open, let it evaporate, start all over again. If it's dry, if you do it right and it's dry, and you use the machine, and you let the gas run out of it completely, you should have no problems with putting new gas in and running it. Should be just like a brand new machine, especially if you've done a good job cleaning it. So I hope that helps, and good luck.